Hey NBC Universal, this is Edwin Lewis from the channel, and you're watching Focus On. Now, we know it sometimes takes hundreds of people to bring the shows that we love watching on a daily basis to the airwaves. An integral part of the production teams are the technical managers. Fortunately for us, we were able to sit down with Alina Chibon from network side, Lane McFarland, and Leo Machado from MSNBC to talk about what they do on a daily basis, some of the challenges that they face, and career milestones. This is Focus On.
The simplest way that I've been able to explain what our role is that we are basically the point person between NBC and our clients. So any show that we're doing, we consider to be our clients. So if it's a Today show, it's everything from crewing to facilities, bookings, anything that they need, they start with us.
I run a department of the technical production managers. So we all, just three of us, we all run one department.
How did you get into this field?
Well, I went to school for it. I studied broadcasting at Montclair State, and I started, built my way up to where I am now. I started as a Chiron op, working for Comcast, actually a long time ago. And I moved my way up. I did some assistant directing and some directing. And when I came to MS, I started doing Chiron again, and I became a TD, and now I'm a tech manager. So.
Well, I started in 1983, so at that time there wasn't a lot of schools offering broadcasting, and I started in this building doing design engineering, and from there I went into implementation and wiring. Started working with the Phil Donahue Show, did some audio work, some camera work, and it kind of fit that it was a jack of all trades, and it was perfect for the job I'm currently in.
And Lane?
I actually went to college to be a journalist. I got a BS in broadcast journalism. But I was working at a TV station in Boston in this room called Master Control. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, all these monitors and buttons. We used to do all the switching manually, so it was a very full, intense job. So I kind of ended up sticking with it. And then I got my first job with MSNBC 2 weeks before they went on the air in 1996 in Master Control. And then worked my way up to being a satellite operations manager freelance, and then a technical production manager, and then I traveled covering multiple shows around the country for years, and then about a year and a half ago became a tech manager.
What skill do you feel is most important to do your job?
Organization.
Yeah.
You need to be very organized when it comes to not just managing people, but managing the shows and the requirements. You can be bombarded by several problems for a particular show, and you have to sort of feel out which is most important or which ones need to be dealt with immediately. Obviously, technical know-how is important and things like that, but for me, it's organization.
Also, very quick decision making. It's like Leo said, you could walk into a show in the morning and your priorities are set at a certain level, and that changes very quickly, and you have to roll with it immediately. Make quick decisions and instill confidence in your crew that working together it's going to come up to a good resolve.
Yeah, and on her note, more or less, you have to remain calm in these situations, because if you panic or get angry or yell or scream, it doesn't help the situation at all. You become part of the problem, so you need to work the problem. And that's done best by leading and letting people know what to do first, how to do it calmly and quickly, because it also instills confidence in the production team that you know what's going on and you're not panicking, because if they see you sweat, then they're going to start to sweat. So just keep it calm.
Breaking news. What happens when you're on air and there's breaking news from your standpoint?
Currently now, what we do is we facilitate getting the support staff in place to get us on the air with breaking news. When we hear there's breaking news, we'll go into the control room and just help out, because it gets chaotic. Everything kind of gets thrown up in the air. Shows have been planned for hours ahead of time. They're down to the frame, how many seconds per each, soundbite, and all of a sudden goes right out the window. And so there's a little bit of chaos in the control room. So we just go in there to try and facilitate calming of the chaos and get the product in the air as fast as possible.
See, for the network side, if there's breaking news and it's specials, report, or nightly news, if you hear something, the Blackberries begin to go. Whether it's your responsibility or not, we go immediately to 1A. And then the name of the game is that the producers are going to find out any piece of information or video that could possibly pertain to the story. So they're going to be throwing things at you. Is there a helicopter over the hospital? They're just going to throw everything at you, and your point is to give them as much sources as possible so that they could pick and choose, and hopefully be ahead of the game.
And you also have to acknowledge the fact that as tech managers, our job is to make our client happy, and our client is the production staff, and they want to get their stuff on the air. They want to be first. They want to be right. They want to be accurate, and it's our job to get them there. And barring what's going on, whether it's a taped program or live or breaking news, our jobs are the same. We still have to get that product on the air, clean, efficiently, and to the satisfaction of our client.
You all have vast amount of experience doing this. How has the job changed over the years since you first began?
I don't know so much as the job has changed as so much as the equipment has changed. It's with the implementation of digital, and the trucks are getting smaller because you can fit less into more. The equipment you use is different. The type of satellite links you do is different.
It used to be simpler when it was all analog. Analog was a simpler, everything was analog. It was simple. But now with the advent of digital and HD, it's definitely added one additional step to it that makes it a little. There's more pitfalls if you're not really, because if you're really not on top of it, it can definitely burn you.
They're airing from rooftops in Afghanistan with their cell phones. They know they can get the signal out. It's our problem to get it properly on air.
Have you ever had something go drastically wrong?
A lot of that stuff happens, especially during breaking news, because you don't have the luxury of you're live. You don't have the luxury of saying, hey, I'm going to go back and fix that.
We were in Iowa doing the caucuses, and it was Daily Rundown was out there primarily as the primary show. But with MSNBC, we're live 17 hours a day, so one anchor's there, and everyone comes through for all day long to do hits. So it was him, and then Andrea Mitchell was doing her show, and in the middle of it, the audio board literally smoked. And nothing, no audio, no IFB, everything died right there on air. And, they just go to commercial break. We had a small field mixer in there, and it was Kimbo from LIC, and they just tore the board apart, rebuilt it in this little mixer within like 4 minutes. That's like almost a commercial break. And they redid everything, all the wiring for the IPs and the mics, and they basically saved the show. And then we came back and we finished the show on a little Mackie mix, a little field kit.
That's one thing I love. It sounds like you're all a team. Even if you're working on a different show, different network, different brand, you all still work together hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Our job is to get the product on the air. That's all it ever is.
What keeps you going and innovative and motivated?
Probably because you're as good as your last mistake.
Very true.
So you humble yourself, and you never sit back and take a nap. And for yourself, for your client, and for your team, you have to give it 150% every day.
And when you pull off that show and it's clean, even if there's disasters going on and the show gets pulled off, I mean there is a sense of accomplishment and achievement when you get that done. And when that show gets done and it fades to black and the show is done, there is a very big sense of excitement and accomplishment when you're done with that. So.
But then it's always you check yourself and you're like, I'm only as good as my last job, so my next job, and she's really right when we always strive to succeed, to outdo our last performance.
Mm-hmm.
If there was someone that wanted to do what you do, what advice would you give them?
For me, I would say if you're going to get into the technical field, one of the first things, besides loving the technology, loving constantly, willing to learn, but to humble yourself and to always be ready to go to someone because someone else could very easily have a better idea. And it's a collaboration to come up with the right solution. You don't know it all. You just don't.
just remember that it's always a team environment. It's always a team environment because together we all rise, but individually we'll definitely fall
Absolutely.
on our face. And there's always times where somebody will come in and save you. I've been saved before, and I always believe that as a team we can do it. But and they need to be dedicated. Because this job, at least for a lot of us, is like I traveled a lot, I was gone a lot. Off the weeks on the end, it's like you miss holidays, you miss family events.
It's definitely not a 9 to 5.
It's not a
No.
9 to 5 job. So
you know,
you really have to care about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and that's what matters most. And always willing to try to be better at it than you are.
One last question. What's been the highlight of your career thus far?
Well, I was going to
That's
say
tough.
I was thinking about this earlier. One was I just did the Top of the Rock for Jimmy Fallon with U2. I was the tech manager for that one. I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever done, which technically is the coolest thing I've ever done. But the one that left the biggest impression on me was a show we did in New Orleans with Morning Joe. And I think it was about a year after Katrina, and we were at a high school for a couple days, and it became like a telethon in a way. We actually raised money for the school, and that was when that touched me the most because I felt like we actually. News is hard because sometimes I feel like if we're there, something's bad has happened. And on this, it was nice to feel that we were actually trying to help, which was a big one for me.
the one project that really, I won't ever forget is when MSNBC first went HD, and we totally revamped our control rooms, and we had a graphical system, a new graphical system in place, and we had lots of trouble trying to get that system on the air. And after being here for like countless number of times that whole week, I had to actually TD the show that day. And I remember Mark Greenstead, the director, he turns to me and says, "Hey, is this going to work?" And we're literally like 3 minutes to air. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. We can get it. We can get it done." And for the next 2 hours, it was a perfectly clean show. We got on the air and everything was great. And that's it. When I got up from that show, it was like the greatest feeling. It was like we really accomplished something. We really did something.
Taking the Conan O'Brien show to Chicago Orpheum Theater, when we went for a survey, everything had been set and done. We had gotten the trucks, and they never bet on the fact that they could not find an HD editing facility that had microwavable capability to send back to show since we air the same night. At the time, we were on a brand new Avid system, called on the team, convinced someone that the Avid system that was on a shelf, let's build it out there, let's build it into the B unit, and let's air it directly from the truck that evening. We'll send it off to BOC, put our names on it, same thing. The first night, executive producer looked at me, he said, "Is this gonna work?" And I just thought, if it doesn't, this is the last time you'll see me. And it did, and it was the first time in history.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's
especially when you pull it off and it's
yeah.
It's a great feeling.
It's funny, around here we call a lot of that live rehearsals.
Yeah.
You don't rehearse. You
don't rehearse,
You
you
don't
just go
rehearse.
live.
That first live show is your rehearsal.
Yeah.
And we always pull it off.
This has been phenomenal. So thank you all very much. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Focus On. Be on the lookout for our next episode coming to you soon. I'm Edwin Lewis from the channel. Thank you for watching.